Raising timber posts by hand is a grueling, precise balance. One misaligned brace could bring the entire structure down. This is how a woodland home rises from nothing. Every enduring structure starts by stripping away the chaos. The builder must cut through dense, tangled overgrowth just to reveal the true grade of the earth. This initial labor dictates the footprint. After trenches are dug and raw fieldstones are set, the foundation must be capped and leveled. Irregular stones provide excellent drainage and load-bearing strength, but timber framing requires a perfectly flat plane. The builder pulls a wooden straightedge across the wet mortar to strike off the excess material. This screeding process establishes a uniform base elevation. A spirit level confirms the grade. If this mortar bed cures even slightly out of plumb, every vertical wall stud will lean, amplifying the error at the roofline. The wet mix is manipulated while it is still pliable, filling voids and ensuring solid contact across the stone surface. Precision here guarantees stability later. With the concrete cured, the build moves vertical. Thick, square timber posts become the structural anchors of the home. Lifting raw mass by hand requires careful leverage as the sheer dead weight resists every push. Once standing, temporary diagonal scrap wood acts as essential cross bracing. Triangulation prevents the posts from shifting out of alignment while the rest of the frame is tied together. Without these temporary supports, the tall columns act as levers that could snap under lateral wind loads. The skeleton begins to hold its own weight. The framed walls are rapidly enclosed with thick oriented strand board panels. Nailing this engineered wood across the vertical studs provides critical shear strength, locking the independent timbers into a rigid unit. This continuous sheathing prevents the structure from racking or twisting under heavy wind loads. Every panel must be hammered perfectly flush at the seams. A slight misalignment here would telegraph through the final finishes, ruining the exterior lines. As the boards go up, the open pavilion becomes a defined interior space. Reaching the roofline introduces the most physically demanding lift of the entire project. The central ridge beam acts as the spine of the roof system, designed to carry the convergent weight of every future rafter. Maneuvering it atop the high gable ends is a precarious test of balance and raw endurance. Metal framing brackets lock the timber into place, creating a mechanical tie that resists the outward thrust of the roof load. The builder must center this immense mass precisely over the load-bearing columns below. This transfers the heavy downward force straight through the framing and into the stone foundation. If this beam is set even slightly off level, the rafters will not seat correctly, compromising the final pitch. Once it is anchored securely, the hardest structural hurdle is cleared. Following the installation of the roof deck, the exterior is fully sealed in a protective coat of bright white plaster. This continuous stucco layer creates a durable, weather-resistant shell over the wood framing. Now, the installation of pre-painted wooden window frames brings a sharp, defining contrast to the facade. Dropping these heavy units into the rough openings requires meticulous shimming. The frames must sit perfectly plumb and level within the rigid plaster shell, ensuring the glass sashes will operate smoothly without binding over time. Screwing the heavy steel hinges of the front door demands the same level of precision. A door hung slightly out of alignment, will constantly drift open or scrape against the threshold, destroying the structure's thermal envelope. The vibrant blue paint serves a highly functional purpose alongside its visual appeal. It thoroughly seals the porous end grain of the timber, blocking moisture intrusion that would otherwise cause the wood to swell and rot. This vivid contrast of deep blue against brilliant white transforms a raw, dusty build into a striking architectural statement. The shelter becomes a home. Inside, the raw structural skeleton is finally being concealed. Working above the newly laid wooden floors, the builder clads the interior studs with smooth beadboard paneling. Securing these thin wooden boards across the framing creates a cohesive finish that instantly softens the harsh acoustics of an empty room. Enclosing these deep stud bays also establishes a crucial dead air space within the walls. This trapped pocket of air acts as a natural thermal buffer, helping to stabilize temperature fluctuations inside the cabin. The vertical milling of the beadboard draws the eye upward, creating an optical illusion that makes the compact interior feel significantly taller. Working with continuous panels requires exact measuring to ensure the parallel seams stay perfectly aligned across the room. Because natural wood responds to ambient humidity, leaving a marginal expansion gap at the corners prevents the boards from buckling as they swell in the damp air. The space immediately feels warmer. A self-sustaining shelter requires highly functional utility zones. Tucked into the corner, a custom wooden countertop and lower shelving unit are built from dimensional lumber. Constructing this casework directly on site allows the dimensions to perfectly match the room's compact footprint. The thick wooden top provides a robust daily work surface, but it must first be modified for basic plumbing. Dropping a small metal sink basin into the counter requires a highly accurate jigsaw cutout. The perimeter must be tight enough to support the outer metal flange, while providing enough clearance for the deep basin to sit completely flush. Because this station will constantly be exposed to water, the raw end grain inside the cutout must be rigorously sealed. Untreated wood absorbs moisture aggressively, which would quickly lead to swelling, rot, and structural failure. The stainless steel basin provides a durable, sanitary washing area that anchors the small kitchen. It is a seamless merging of utility and craft. The final phase of interior carpentry focuses on the transitional details. Wooden trim is nailed around the rough window openings to mask the expansion gaps between the plaster shell and the framing. This casing visually anchors the windows into the wall, turning a structural opening into a finished architectural element. To tie the interior design to the striking exterior facade, the window sills and door frames are painted in the same vibrant blue. Applying this high-gloss enamel provides a tough, wipeable surface in high-wear areas that see constant handling and sunlight exposure. The bold color cuts through the natural wood tones, giving the room a distinct, intentional character. The interior finishing is complete. The focus shifts from the building to the landscape, spreading a thick layer of light gravel across the bare dirt yard creates a permeable, low-maintenance patio surface. This loose aggregate is essential for proper drainage, preventing the high-traffic area directly in front of the house from turning into a muddy rut during heavy rain. It also reflects ambient sunlight, brightening the shaded exterior. The newly constructed wooden table is dragged into the center of this fresh stone bed. Heavy, custom-built outdoor furniture is designed to withstand the elements, resisting the tipping forces of high winds. By extending the living area outward, the builder maximizes the usable footprint of the property without needing to construct additional roofing. The gravel defines the boundary between the wild forest and the curated home. To protect this new outdoor space, a large blue rectangular tarp is strung high above the patio, tying the corners to surrounding tree trunks, and the structural roof eaves creates a simple but highly effective tensioned canopy. This overhead shield intercepts harsh direct sunlight and sheds light rain, drastically lowering the ambient temperature of the seating area below. Achieving the correct tension is critical. A loose tarp will catch the wind like a sail, putting immense stress on the anchor points and creating deafening noise. When pulled taut and angled correctly, it becomes a quiet, protective layer. The vibrant blue canopy mirrors the trim of the house, unifying the exterior design. The labor is finally over. In the end, the structure, the landscape, and the daily routine all operate as one cohesive system. It is a quiet place carved out of the woods, built to provide and protect.